your clear, direct distinctions about affirmations versus compliments, or how to give a good affirmation, changed everything for me. I've already been practicing it since I read about your work. Can you share this with everybody, please, on how to give a good affirmation, especially in this context, to develop emotional intimacy?
I'd be happy to. I like to say that affirmations are compliments on steroids because they are so much more powerful. So a compliment is what you appreciate about somebody. And then an affirmation is what the thing that you appreciate, and then how that thing that you appreciate about them impacts you. And what's so powerful about an affirmation, I mean, how many of us put those ones up if you have a hard time receiving compliments? I know a lot of us do. Yes. And if I say you have a beautiful smile, Justin, you have a beautiful smile, you might think about how your teeth are a little crooked or yellow, whatever it is. I'm not saying they are, but whatever
No,
inner
I got
critic
you. Yeah.
thing that comes up for you about your truly beautiful smile. That's very common for people when they get a compliment. But if I say, you have a beautiful smile, and when you smile at me, I get butterflies in my stomach and I feel like I'm 16 again. You're not going to say, no, you don't.
Right.
Because I'm sharing my own personal experience with you. And it's more believable. It's more genuine. It feels tailor-made for you. And we all want to know how we impact people. We're hungry to know how we impact people. And so it helps create intimacy, because remember, mutual shared vulnerability, it's much more vulnerable to share impact. I also like to tell people how to receive an affirmation. When people receive compliments, particularly if they have a hard time with it, they might deflect or argue or volley back right away. No, you have a beautiful smile. But what I think can be more powerful is to notice how it impacts you to hear that, and to share how it impacts you to receive it. Because now
Mhm.
we're actually in this space of sharing mutual impact, which is a gift. I'm giving you the gift of how you've impacted me, and then you're giving the gift back of how I've impacted you.
And now we're relating on an emotional level, not just talking about what we're seeing on the external or on the receiving end, deflecting our compliments because of our trauma, or our experiences. This is so powerful to
Yeah.
me. And, it is an on ramp onto the next topic that I wanted to discuss with you here, which is about, we're leveling up people here, dirty talk. So you talk
Mhm.
about dirty talk in your work. What is dirty talk, and how does it help develop emotional intimacy? And like, is it only sexual when we think of it? So I just love to hear some examples and, what you think about this.
Well, I would say dirty talk tends to move us into a little bit more of the sensual or sexual zone, because and I think dirty talk is used to mean mostly vulgar talk, but I like to think about dirty talk as any time that you're talking about how something feels, what you want to do to somebody, or what you want them to do to you. You can dirty talk your most ideal kiss, right? That's not necessarily the most vulgar rated X thing, but if I say, I want to hover in front of your mouth and feel your breath and feel the magnetic pull of our lips to each other, but not give in. And I want to flick my tongue on your lips and tease you. And when you go in for the kiss, I'm going to pull back just a little bit so that you're really wanting it, but I'm not going to give it to you yet. Right? So you can dirty talk something that's pretty PG, but it gets really hot
Yeah, you can
and
feel that
erotic.
energy here. My goodness gracious. I'm like, hold on a minute. Right. So, great.
In
Well,
my
how do we
courses, I
do this,
often dirty
Dr.
talk
Ali? How do we learn
how
how
to
to
make a
do this?
peanut butter and jelly sandwich, because you can dirty talk something that's really PG and make it really hot.
Yeah.
It's also a lot in the delivery when you're feeling connected to the desire, to the pleasure, and you're using descriptive words, sensory based language, all of that. You're really thinking about the delivery of what you're saying as well as the content.
Okay, so the way to do it is thinking about the delivery of what we're saying, like, and expanding on the minutia, like the little moments of the experience. Are there any other little tips you have on people who've never done this, like to start being able to
Yes.
play with this a little bit?
Devil is in the details. So the more details, the better. When you're thinking about delivery, if you talk really, really fast, it conveys urgency. And if you pause a little, it's more teasing. It creates some of that anticipation. You can include breath, like that kiss, right? That also conveys desire. And in terms of tips and tricks, I really think that the younger generation is going to be way better at dirty talk because they've been sexting a lot longer, and that's really good practice. So think about it's less pressure to do it in a written way. So whether it's leaving little notes or sexting or whatever that may be, it's a way to start practicing naming your desires that maybe doesn't feel as much pressure as somebody listening, and you can erase that word and choose a different word. And then also think about practicing with something that feels more familiar and more accessible, like a kiss is a great example. And then you can start to escalate into something that's a little bit more erotic or X-rated, how you want to spank or be spanked or something like that as an example.
This is
Voice
great.
memos, somebody just put that in the chat box.
Yeah, Evie just wrote voice memos. That's good. This is great. So, I'm reflecting back right now on what we just learned about emotional intimacy and affirmations. I think my big takeaway from the affirmations was the second part of it. Like you saying affirmations are compliments on steroids, but then talking about how that impacted you and what it is that you felt. That's really what makes it an affirmation, because someone feels what their impact was on you. So, I really love the way that you're holding me right now, because it makes me feel so safe and loved and like I can rest into you. And I'm always holding so much in my life and I feel so safe in your arms. Thank you. Like that's an affirmation, right? Is that?
I melted.